I'm Scott Vatcher, the host of Questioning Authority, where I question authority figures about health, wealth, and relationships. This episode is brought to you by theauthorityco.com, helping health professionals be seen as the go-to authority in their community. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to another episode of Questioning Authority, the podcast. I'm Scott Vatcher, your host, and I've got an authority in what I would consider many different avenues, and we're going to dive deep into a lot of cool things today. Got on here James Chester. We've known each other in the digital land for about 5 years now. Never met in person. Hopefully going to be this year. I'm going to try and get over to America a few times and do a few seminars this year. So hopefully we'll meet in person. But another digital experience coming your way. So welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode. Could you do me a huge favor right now? Whatever you're listening to this program on, could you go ahead and like or subscribe? It would help this show grow more than you know and help me get better guests on here to provide you with even greater value. Thank you so much in advance. Now, back to the show. One thing that stands out to me when I think of your name is social media. And we all know as healthcare professionals, chiropractors, that social media is huge for our businesses these days. It's not just a thought or an idea. It is pretty much a necessity in most aspects around getting your practice out there and having a thriving, healthy practice. You're everywhere. I see you all the time, both personally and professionally on social media. What's your secret sauce there? Like how are you so consistent? How do you do it all the time?
I'm just built that way. I'm a high level communicator. I just hired a guy onto my team that his sole position is sponsorships and emails. And he's like, so do you schedule these posts that you make? I go, no. Everything that I post is just organic. I don't have a strategy map. I just try to really focus on connecting with people. And I think that more people need God in their life. So I focus on the vibe of spirituality. I think more people need truth. So I consider myself a truther. I don't go and snip all other people's stuff and repost it too frequently. But I organically think about what might trend for somebody. And then every once in a while, I throw a grenade inside the chiropractic camp and I see what blows up. And I kind of just test the market sometimes and see who wants to show up and what's on their mind. I help a lot of people find patients through just random posting. Somebody will say, hey, can you help me out? I say, great. So I think it just depends on how connected I feel like being. Then I do challenges all the time too, 75 hard, or I just do stuff to inspire people. And I let people know that an average guy that grew up on the streets of Davenport, Iowa can dominate. And I think that when people realize that anything's possible, just don't be a fake. I think that a takeaway is be good, be authentic, show that you care, give some love. And, I used to say be social on social all the time. You have to engage with people, but now I feel the game's kind of shifted. I feel now people are learning to be social on social with our platform. And, I think that when you show up, people show up. But I do think it's kind of strange now that the algorithm shifted to only 20 or 30 people see your stuff. It's weird.
It comes back to sometimes control the controllables, right? And the algorithm is not something to be able to be controlled. Keep doing what you're doing. And to some degree, there's a hope for the best scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you can see when somebody doesn't have digital curb appeal. They don't show up. And you're like,
Yeah.
But if somebody engages and has a high level of engagement, people want to work with that guy, I guarantee you. Right now, if I said, hey, who wants to be on Chiro Hustle podcast? We'd get 70 recommendations in an hour.
I think I want to dive a little bit into your past as well, because I'd seen your stuff and I was watching and I was like, this guy seems pretty cool and he's doing all this stuff for chiropractic. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's not even a chiropractor. How many people in the chiropractor profession still think you're a chiropractor?
I mean, it's been a while, but I was for a hot streak there. I'd get emails, always Dr. Jim or Dr. James, Doc Chester. Um, but I fell in love with the truth of this profession. You know, I was doing a marketing event for a local chiropractor in Colorado today, and the massage therapist I was working with, we did a teacher appreciation day today at a school, and she never met me before. I never met her. We just showed up to help people with massage and then chiropractic. And anyways, we started talking, and I was just like explaining to her how I got into the profession, and I just stood there one night at 30 years old, really, and I was like, what do I believe in? There's so much half truth in the world. And I got to know this profession of chiropractic, and I was like, this is like the real deal. And my background's marketing and journalism, and I think I can ride with this profession. I think they need somebody that can actually like figure out how to crack the code for like promotion and communication and brand awareness. And I think that's what we've done, is just doubled down on brand awareness and promotion and consistency. And I don't know, I just love the truth of this profession.
Was there anyone in your family or close friend or somebody who was a chiropractor that was the introduction?
Well, growing up in Davenport, Iowa, I went to high
Right.
school right
That's
across the street from Palmer College,
yeah.
and I was bartending, and the guy that was working the door at the piano bar I was serving drinks at, he was finishing up chiropractic school. He's playing rugby at Palmer, and we just became buddies. And I learned from 4 to 5 groups before him because I was in my 20s and I grew up in Davenport, Iowa. Who do you think I hang out with? I'm hanging out with chiropractors. They're like in my like age bracket. So
Yeah.
anywhere I'd go, there's chiropractors around town. Anyways,
Right.
I just got to know and understand like what they were up to. And he said, hey, do you want to help me come run this clinic that I'm opening up in Chicago? I'm like, bro, I don't know shit about chiropractic, except for the fact when I get adjusted, I feel better. And the rest is history. 15 years ago.
I mean, that's a good start. You know, that's where a lot of people start. I don't know how many chiropractors who have, you know, as a kid they had a sporting injury, and then went to chiropractor and it felt great, and they're like, oh, this is cool, and then
Well,
10 years later they're chiro.
I have one of those stories too. I
Hmm.
was playing high school football, 16 years old. I was a kicker and punter, and I was kicking off, and the guy was returning, and he broke through the whole team, and I like
Last man standing.
I was, and I just popped him, but I hurt my shoulder, and the athletic trainer told me I need to get some X-rays. So I went to Palmer College because they said, hey, you can go get X-rays on a discount. So my
Right.
mom, I grew up, you know, super poor, and my mom was a single parent family, and she's like, sure, I'll take him to Palmer. It's right across from high school. So I'm 16 years old. I go over to Palmer, and this is gonna blow your mind. Like, they don't do this today. I go over there to get X-rays of my shoulder, and the staff doc was like, hey, can we X-ray a spine too to see if anything happened? She's like, we want to check him for subluxation. My mom's like, sure. So anyways, I started getting adjusted at age 16 because of a high school football injury. And I always knew that I played better. I always knew I played better when I got adjusted.
Yeah, I don't think that happens now. Some of these. Hey,
Are
why
you
don't we
kidding
just
me?
X-ray your spine as well? Yeah, sure. But I mean, in reality, probably should be, because Sure, you did your shoulder, but you probably did something to your neck too.
Or thoracic spine, or I don't know, intercostal ribs.
All kind, all kind. I mean, it blows my mind that there are some high end athletes out there now that still don't get chiropractic. Like, to me, that's the low lying fruit today is like get adjusted is just part of the process. It's just that should be train every day, proper diet, get adjusted should be like top three things you do as a amateur pro athlete. It's just one of those things.
I mean, I'm 45 and I still treat myself like that.
Mm.
Eat real food,
Yeah.
train your body, get adjusted. Yep.
One of the things in social media that you're so prevalent with is your 75 hard. Just describe a little bit for some of the listeners who might not know what that is. Tell me about it, and then how did you get into it, and how many times have you bloody done it now? Like 50? I don't know. But
Nah, I've gone through the 75-day plan at least 4 times. And there's different processes after the 75. There's like the hard life, and it's a 30-day deal. And then there's another 30-day deal, and there's another 30-day deal. And you do all that in a year. Well, I got 75 done. I did the first 30 days, the second 30 days, and then something happened. I don't know, but I didn't finish that hard life year. But I've gone through the 75 days 4 times or so.
So again, what is it? Before we get any further, like people are like, what the hell is this thing?
Yeah,
Tell us a
right.
little bit about 75. Yeah.
It's a program made by a guy named Andy Frisella, and it's designed to create mental toughness. And it's basically, if you don't complete, you lied to yourself. And the worst thing you can ever do is freaking lie to yourself. So it's like self-accountability. And I liked it because it made me feel uncomfortable. And the first lady that I inspired me to do it, her name was Julie. 3 kids, widow. I'm like, all right.
She can do it.
I didn't
Oh,
want
you
to
can do
compare
it.
myself to her, but I'm like, holy shit, this lady did it. That
Yeah.
takes some real consistency and grit and self-responsibility. It scared the shit out of me. Like, you have to do
I
two
bet.
45-minute workouts every day.
So yeah, like my memory, and fill me in on it. 2 45-minute workouts, like a gallon, which is I think about 4 liters of water. You got to read every day. One of those workouts has to be outside. You have to follow a diet. Doesn't matter which one, but a diet. There's a couple of other things in there, but can you remember?
Progress picture each day. No alcohol, no cheat meals.
No alcohol, no cheat meals. So to think about doing all of that every day for 75 days straight is a huge, huge commitment. I do wonder how many people actually truly complete that. Because, again, accountability to yourself, I think, is one of the biggest things. But, there's probably a number of us out there that would, we might miss a thing here or there and go, but it wasn't enough to restart. I'll just keep going.
So I got to day 58 my first time, and I restarted. I got to day 39 or something my second time, and I restarted. So I think that's the hardest thing, is to know that you actually slipped up, and you're going to be like, all right, I'll just 123 straight days, or 117 straight days.
Yes.
I mean, I messed up one day in the middle of that.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, I think there's, when you do a challenge like that, totally understand it's part of the challenge. But, life is a consistent everyday challenge as well. And we definitely mess up when it comes to life.
The hardest, Scott, the hardest is traveling.
Oh, man.
And I'm on airplanes all the time.
I bet. When you're on an airplane, to try and fit in 2 workouts a day when it's a travel day is next level, 100%. And that's what I meant, right? Like life can get in the way of these desires and these goals. So, for our listeners who are healthcare practitioners, chiropractors, etc., definitely being consistent with where you want to go in life is huge. But the thing I love about 75 Hard is there's a set a series of steps as like, just do this, right? And if you do this every day, you'll achieve, right? And things will move forward. And whatever that means, by the end, if you have a goal of a certain, whatever it is, mental toughness, weight loss, whatever the thing is. But in life, it's a lot more difficult, really. Like everyone looks at 75 Hard and goes, it's so hard. But when in life or in business and you don't have a plan, that's when it's real hard, because it's super easy to have a day off or a week or a month or a year. But how much have you found doing something like that has helped you in your business?
When it translates to business, I really see, I just get up earlier and I just complete it. And I think, I'm no perfect guy. I still have a list of shit that I have to do that I don't want to do daily. Making like a call to like the credit card company, or booking a flight somewhere, or making sure I have a rental car, or, ClickFunnels like charge me extra, or, it's just cleaning up some like stuff, or, renewing my license plates, like things like that. Like, I don't want to do that stuff. I'm a regular dude. Like, there is shit that I don't like to do. Yeah. I think like as I've gotten to know like how it affects business, like, people can depend on me. Like they know that like I am not going to mess around. And if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And that translates to like a huge ripple effect in like culture. Like the ripple effect of people knowing that I can do this and still accomplish all the other things that I do on a day-to-day basis. That builds trust. And that's why I show up like that. Plus, I like to show people that like a guy that had nothing, grew up on the streets, can do whatever the hell he wants to. You just got to give yourself permission to do it.
And then once you give yourself permission, do it.
Yeah, and be inspirational to people through it, man. That's the other thing. Is like, I'd recommend everybody to get like 2 to 3 friends and create like a group chat and do it together, and post like a screenshot of day one, post a screenshot every day in the group by 12 o'clock that night on completion.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, you've been inspirational to me. I've seen it many times, and I've seen, some of your photos where you can see it's dark outside and there's snow on the ground, and you're like, yep, just squeezed in my second workout for the day just before midnight. And I'm like, that is some good shit.
I mean, last night I fell asleep at like 8 p.m. and I woke up at 10 p.m. and I had 30 ounces of water to drink.
So, do you know what an ounce is? I don't know. Like, that's an American thing. Do you know how big an ounce is? How many milliliters? 30 ounces. How big is that?
40 ounces is 1.8 liters.
Oh, so yeah, 1.5 liters kind of thing.
Right, like right before bedtime.
Actually, you posted about that, didn't you? I saw that.
I did.
Yeah, how many times did you have to wake up to that?
Actually, I woke up right at 6 a.m.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. Slept through the night. Body needed it. Innate was working.
Nice. So like I said, you have been an inspiration in a few ways to me. One is with that 75 Hard. I'm glad we sort of were able to dive a bit deeper into that. Anyone who's looking to check it out, I mean, you just Google Goggle. Is it Google? Goggle.
That's a good joke, right?
Goggle 75 Hard, and it'll pop up. Again, when the system's in place, I think that is the real key. If there's structure in place, it gives you such an advantage to be able to complete it. Doesn't mean you're going to, but the advantage is huge to just have some kind of system in place. And so that's, from a mentally strong standpoint or a physically, activity standpoint, 75 hard covers all of that. But then thinking about from a business side of point of view, have some kind of structure system in place, I think is a big one. And one of the things you've been super consistent with is podcasting. You told me in the pre-show, 1,300 episodes. You're now, you do it in English and Spanish. It's just mind-boggling. I've done a few podcasts in the past. I think I got up to about 80, 90, 100 episodes maybe. So 1,300 to me just is phenomenal. So what is your perspective on persistence and consistency in how it can help, like you said, from a marketing point of view, from a brand strategy point of view? How important is it?
My whole perspective was to create more content on chiropractic than anyone else ever has on planet Earth.
You probably have. You probably already have.
Period. That was the whole mission. I wanted everybody to know what the back of my jersey number was, because there's no way anybody's going to catch me. I'm so far into the lead.
What does that mean?
I want everybody to see my back.
Right.
Like, I wanted to be so far out in front of the pack that there's no way that anybody could catch me. And I really wanted to just keep on drilling down as far as I could. Like, who knows when I'll stop? I might never stop. But I also plan on becoming the most powerful man in chiropractic. And how do you do that? You do it through media. You do it through relationships. You do it by giving so much that other people see the reciprocity that you provided, and they want to bring you up. So I have a strategy, man. And it's just to keep on creating more content and building value within this message, and really supporting freedom of speech, medical freedom, family health freedom, protecting the sacred trust, supporting subluxation-based chiropractic, and believing and supporting innate intelligence and universal intelligence. That's the premise of our show. Like, come on now.
Healthcare providers and other small business owners, are you ready to discover the 2 incredibly simple yet powerful strategies that you can use today to skyrocket your client base within the next 6 months, all without spending a dime on advertising or sacrificing any of your personal time outside of work? Forget about new fancy gimmicks. We're talking about mastering the fundamentals. Learn what these 2 easy to implement strategies are and how you can start using them today to unlock your practice's hidden potential. Take the quiz by clicking the link now. It only takes 3 minutes to complete, and you'll get instant results. Let's go a little bit more granular, a little bit more nitty gritty in how you, because you're a marketer too. Like, you not just have this big picture, but you have the granular of, I help chiropractors grow their business. From a perspective of you on the quote unquote outside, although you probably know more about chiropractic than most chiropractors, from the outside as a marketer, what do you see that chiropractors and maybe other health professionals are doing in marketing that's working right now? Like a top 1, 2, 3 things that you see that people are doing and you're like, that guy's got it dialed in, or he's doing it right.
Wow. That's a tough question, to be honest with you. I think that personality has a lot to do with what motivates people to do social media posting or get reviews or run a podcast or dinners with the doc or lunch and learns or weekend events where you do screenings or whatever it might be. I think a lot hinges into the personality of the practitioner.
Yeah.
I know we live in a review economy. So I think that you would be, I mean, I don't have many reviews, but I think that if you're a practitioner, people do depend on third-party validation. Not saying that I don't have many Google reviews. I have, like I told you, I have like 100 video reviews of people who have been on the show that have actually spoken kind words about what we do and what we stand for. But
yeah,
when I think about like what's working, you got to go meet your community. Like you have to go and join the Chamber of Commerce and join the professional networking groups. You have to become a better speaker. You have to get your 2 minutes of roundtable at those events where you get a chance to tell people who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and just get comfortable talking to people. I think you should be at every farmer's market you can put a booth at. I think you should be at every, community event, home and garden shows, RV shows, women's expos, bridal expos. I think you should have a presence doing old school marketing and meeting the community where they are. Those are just things I really like. You should all have a podcast. Like, where do you live, Scott?
On the Gold Coast in Australia.
So there you go. Spotlight on the Gold Coast, hosted by Dr. Scott Vatcher.
Yeah.
I think that you should interview people in your local community, other business owners. You know how you pick them out? Look who has the most 5-star reviews and say, hey, I want you to be on my podcast. I'm featuring really awesome businesses in the local community.
100%.
Can we get on and talk for 20 minutes? I'll tell your story.
You'd be hard pressed to find somebody as a local business that wouldn't do that.
Then you can say, hey, by the way, I'm Dr. Scott. If you guys are looking to come to Gold Coast Chiropractic, we have a new patient special. Go ahead and click the link below. We'd love to serve you and your family. And by the way, you're probably going to be our number one referral source. So let me thank you already for earning your business.
That right there is worth the listen for anybody any local business really could do this, but as healthcare professionals, that is an absolute low-lying fruit, really. Like, I love podcasting. I love being a guest and being a host. It's actually so much fun, and I learn so much. Like, it almost feels like a guilty pleasure, almost. I don't know if you feel that way, but I really do. Like, I get so much out of it. But to use that framework that you just said, every local healthcare professional should be doing that.
Yeah. And, that's a cool thing too, is like, you can get on Spotify. I kind of look at like all the different platforms as like fishing holes. Like you gotta fish on iTunes, you gotta fish on Spotify, you gotta fish on YouTube, you gotta fish on Instagram, you gotta fish on. I just look at like all these different like little areas that you catch different fish in, and you got to put a line out in all of them. And
you're not going to catch a fish without a line.
And that's why I go international with our show, because I want our line in the water in Australia. I want our line in the water in Mexico. I want our line in the water in the UK. I want it in California. I want it in Florida. I want it in Massachusetts. I want it in Colorado. I want my lines in every water. I want them on all the campuses.
That's right.
So
yeah, and a chiropractor or a brick and mortar business might be listening to that and going, "Well, that doesn't really apply to me." But I'll tell you, when you do a podcast with somebody, there's kind of a special little relationship that you automatically get. You may have never met that person. You speak for 20 minutes, but then they know who you are. Like, you might get 0 listens, but even that person who you just interviewed now knowing who you are makes such a difference in the community.
Well, I'll tell you why it works, Scott. It's cross-pollination marketing. And what they're going to be is so proud of being on your show that now that busy coffee shop, that dude that was on, or that gal that was on your show, is sharing it with all of her customers.
That's right.
They're putting it on their Facebook page like immediately. And the guy that's the dry cleaners down in the corner lot that is like the busiest dry cleaners in town, guess what that guy's going to do? He's going to put it on his pages immediately. And it all drives back to your brand.
That's right.
And I just think, like, you make a list of yoga studios, natural grocers, whatever you're into, CrossFit gyms, you name it.
Anyone who's got your ideal client.
Start interviewing those people once a week, create 52 episodes. Tell me how it goes.
And then you could just do it again, right? Because a year later, they might have forgotten about it and whatever. Hey, why don't we get you on again? Sure. Boom, redone. You probably only need 25 people twice a year, and you just keep doing it.
Yeah. And then if you're in like a chamber of commerce or a young professional network group, you can pick all those
Yeah.
people because
Yeah,
they
perfect.
want promotions.
Well,
Vendors at like, if you see other vendors at the farmer's market, say, hey, I'm Dr. Scott. I run a podcast. I'd love to have you on for a quick episode. You can talk
yeah,
to the dairy farmer. You can talk to the vegetable farmer. You can talk to the guy that makes soaps. You can talk to all the people that do the honey. You know, you find yourself some essential oil groups. Like you're rocking.
we all have a story, right? There's something interesting that people are going to say, and that's again one of the beautiful things that I love about podcasting is everyone's got a story to tell. Everybody's got something interesting as long as you can just pick it out a little bit, tease it out, and it's a great story.
Well, here's the thing that I love about podcasting, Doc. I never made it about me. You will fall on your face faster than you can sneeze if you make the show about yourself. You have
That's
to
right.
make it about your community and you have to make it about your guest.
Yep.
Yep.
And provide value to your listeners. Simple as that.
I also tell people they can mix it up. Create some solo casts if they like to talk on like single track topics. Those are fine too. But I think you should definitely have enough guests that you get like a community vibe.
Yeah, because, think about that again, as a local business, you get people on and you're interviewing and they're sharing it because, again, they're proud to be on there. They're sharing it. You get into their network and then people will subscribe to the podcast. They're like, this is a local Gold Coast podcast. That's great. And once a month or something, you get on and just give a beautiful health tip. Hey, I'm Scott. I'm the local chiropractor at blah, blah, blah. You probably listen to some podcast about, today I'm just going to talk about posture and how important that is to get your posture right. Boom. Once a month, drop something like that. And yeah, it's just magic. So beautiful. Love that about the simplicity of what marketing can be and fun, right? We don't have to be the best at Facebook ads and, the typical, $19 new patient special and all of this stuff. We just got to get out in the community, both digitally and personally, or either or, right? Like I think a podcast, even if you're not out in the public specifically personally, could still have a huge impact.
Do you want me to tell you why Facebook ads aren't working as well as they used to?
I'd love to.
The ideal clients have bailed on those platforms.
Right.
People that hate censorship and shadow banning and traffic throttling, they've said, all right, peace out.
I'm out.
By Facebook, by Instagram. So the ideal clients have like gone because of the censorship tactics, and the platforms don't promote healthy lifestyles and alternative care. So they don't want to give priority to people being healthy. So they ratchet down. They make they'll disqualify an ad for nothing. They'll lock up your account for nothing. And they'll just like keep on like throwing like booby traps in front of you every chance that they get to like make your ads get shut down. And they cost 4 times as much now to acquire a client.
100%. Yeah. Like I hear from, go ahead.
That's just the gas on the gas. Like when it costs too much, you got to go back to old school tactics and go meet your community where they are.
Yeah. And referrals, reviews, getting out into the community. I think those are the things that is this next level of marketing, because yes, I'm not saying don't put a Facebook ad as part of your marketing strategy, but I can tell you as a practitioner 5-6 years ago, Facebook ads were unbelievable. They would drive in a ton of new people at a low cost. And now every chiropractor I talk to, they're still doing ads because they don't know what else to do. but they're saying, man, the quality of people coming in is low and the number is low.
Well, they have input asphasia. They're tired of seeing ads in their scroll. So they're like, I don't care if it's the best deal in the world. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hide, block, hide, block. So now they're savvy. They're more savvy.
5-6 years in, they've seen it enough. Whereas then it was amazing. So tell me a little bit about your docu-series, your chiropractic stories, and I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. I know you sent them through just recently for me, so I will check them out, but I haven't had a chance to. Tell me about them.
Yeah. So I was working in a clinic. It was 2015. No one knew me. I was just a dude that set people up in traction. I was working in a chiropractic biophysics clinic. I was doing patient testimonials at a handful of offices, and I was saying, hey, what was your life like before chiropractic? What's it like now? I started getting these stories, man. And I'm like, this profession's amazing. I'm going to poke around and see if I can find some content that would like educate me on this profession better. And I started doing a digital dive, and I'm like, what do I find? I found some videos of Sid Williams. I found some videos of Sigafus. I found some videos of Reggie Gold. I found some videos of Billy DeMoss. And that was kind of it, man. And I was like down the rabbit hole. I started watching everything that the chiropractic biophysics crew did. So I was watching their training videos. And I got onto a couple other coaching groups, and I watched all their stuff. And I made a small video for recruiting for Palmer Rugby. So I met a lot of old boys, Fred Schofield. Like I met some like legends, and I was like, I'm going to make a film on chiropractic. We're going to talk about the history. We're going to talk about the battle with chiropractic and the American Medical Association. We're going to talk about like all the things. We're going to give definitions to chiropractic, subluxation. I was just like, what is important to this profession? We're going to anchor into it. So anyways, I put together a Indiegogo campaign or a Kickstarter campaign, one of the two. And I got enough backers. So I went and made a movie.
Nice. Fantastic. And so how do people access that?
That link that I gave you, it's attached to our second film URL. It's called Project Patient, the movie. The first movie is called Chiropractic, the documentary. But the second movie, we followed cases, man. We followed like real, like non-traditional cases, traumatic brain injuries, PTSD, addiction, like real life addiction. Like things that were non-linear cases. And we were showing how people were getting better. And I just think that it's really awesome. So the first movie's 2 hours long. The second hour is just under an hour, or the second movie's just under an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, what can I do that no one else did? What can I do to add more value once again?
Yeah.
And that was my barrier of entry. Was in 2016. We dropped that movie. I took it on a tour through Europe. I took it through Mexico. We took it through several colleges in the United States. And that's when people realized that I was coming. And I've just been on a full court press since then, just going as hard as I can.
I see you all the time. Super, humbled by what you do for this profession. It's more than 100-fold more than I've ever done for it. Even though I feel like I've contributed. You're an amazing advocator for this wonderful profession, and we haven't met in person, but we've chatted enough now that I get a sense of who you are, and you're just a good dude who wants to get the truth out there. And so definitely thank you for that.
It's really my life's work. I wouldn't do it. I mean, honestly, there was a couple paths I wanted to go. I wanted to be like a sports commentator for soccer, or I wanted to work for National Geographic and go around and do travel stories. And now I produce for chiropractic. So, yeah, I mean,
get to travel around and tell stories.
just just a little different.
Just slightly different, probably a little bit more fulfilling, really. But like it's amazing how life can take you on these twists and turns.
Yeah, for sure. Chiropractic has been it's an amazing part of my life, and I love it.
Yes, thank you for what you do. So yeah, I know we could talk forever. I'll definitely get you on the show again. We'll dive deep into some of these things. Thanks for those marketing tips. I think anyone who's thinking about doing podcasting, listen to that part again. It's actually quite simple to do, but it will be probably one of the best things you ever do for your practice, and it's a hell of a lot of fun at the same time. So yeah, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll close people out by telling them, look, you don't have to do it all yourself. There's a website called Fiverr. There's a website called Upwork. You can make a post and say, hey, I'm looking for a podcast manager. People will help you. Like, I've never edited a podcast in my life. I've never put a podcast on a website. So you don't have to do it all alone. And I think it's more fun to do with your team anyways.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I'll just expand on it a little tiny bit as well, because people would think about that as like, oh, do I have time? And do I have the tech know-how for that stuff? And it's very true. Think about how much you would spend on a Facebook ad. Like, I know people who are spending $3,000 or $4,000 plus ad spend on Facebook ads that are bringing in low quality leads, right? To find somebody who's going to do everything for your podcast minus you being on the 20-minute video. Yes, I can tell you I have a lot less than $3,000 or $4,000 a month.
Yeah, and if you get really good, people will sponsor your show.
Yeah. You got some sponsors. I love it. I plan on having some sponsors myself soon enough. So I did ask you in the pre-show about a dad joke. I have not heard it yet. You say it's pretty bad. I said, that's the best dad joke. Let's end it with a dad joke. What do you got for me?
So what do you get when you mix an elephant with a rhino?
An elephant with a rhino.
It's an elephino.
I like it. That's better than I thought it would be. Perfect. Well, thanks for that, man. Love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Let me know if I can help. In the show notes will be all the stuff, all the, your email to contact you, to check you out. For if you need help, like we said, need help with marketing, get on to this guy. He's doing it the right way, the old school way. And yeah, check out those Docu-Series as well. So all that will be in show notes. Check it out. And thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Questioning Authority. I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for the next one coming out soon. This episode has been brought to you by The Authority Co., helping service providers increase authority and revenue. Check out theauthorityco.com for more info.